Hello viewers, you're welcome to this tutorial. I made this video basically for those who are new in programming. Okay, so there are other videos I've released on dealing with Python, coding Python, and dealing with lists and other stuff, but this is basically for those who are new in Python. So if you are from another field like an accounting background, purchasing background, or maybe you just have no idea in programming, or maybe little knowledge, and you want to really understand what programming is in the first place, what Python is, what is software development, if you really want to have that knowledge, then this is just a good place for you. Okay, so we're starting with why Python. Why should you learn Python in the first place? Now, I'm not going to be biased. It's not compulsory to learn Python as your first programming language. It's just not compulsory. You can learn HTML, you can learn CSS, you can learn JavaScript, you can learn C, C++, and all those languages. So it is not just compulsory, but as I'm using Python, I just want you to understand the benefits you will receive when you end up through this course. So why, or not even why per se, but why should I pursue, okay, why should I pursue this course? The why still comes in. Why should I pursue this course in the first place and jumpstart into my Python career? Okay, why? And the reason is that Python is used in basically almost every field. Now, this is not my main point. These are points I want you to understand before I jump to my main point, which is the interconnectivity. So, things you should understand is Python is very good in almost every field. If you learn Python, you can deal with Python in networking. Okay, almost every language is kind of general purpose. So, this Python can be used in networking, developing some little scripts. It's also really used in artificial intelligence. It's mostly used in data science together with our programming language, and also it's used to develop desktop applications, which we're going to go through that in our tutorial. It's also used to develop mobile application, and it also has a good stake in web application. Okay, so if you want to develop a web app, you can use Python also together with HTML, CSS, and your JavaScript. All right, so you can really use all this with Python. Okay, but it's not just about the number of things you can do with them, because I wouldn't recommend learning Python just because you can do a whole lot with them. But I just want you to understand that these are some benefits you can have by learning Python. You can use it in several fields. Okay, so let's jump to the main point. Now, why should you really go through this course? Interconnectivity. All right, the purpose of interconnectivity is now programming has gotten to a sense where you don't end up programming with only one programming language. Okay, a software can be developed with multiple programming languages, and one will act as the base operating system and the other will act as a supplementary operating system. So what really happens is you could be developing an application with C or C++, and you get to a point when you want to do facial recognition, you have to use Python to do that. Okay, so the world is getting to a place where interconnectivity of programming language is very necessary. If a programming language cannot interconnect itself with other programming language, then it is not good to be learned. Okay, I'm really serious about that, because a programming language should be able to be blended with other programming language during a time of need. So Python does not do everything. Okay, to get to a point where you need to import some libraries of C, some libraries of C++, some libraries of Java, all those kind of things. So Python is very good with that. So the meaning of a base programming language is simply the default programming language you're using to develop the system, and supplementary programming language means the other programming language you're using as a support to the base programming language. So as I said earlier, you're using C to develop an app, and you kind of need Python for your AI, or maybe R for your data science. Okay, so that is how it works right here. So what Python does is, if you have Python as your base programming language, it has the capacity to embed itself with Java, C, C++, and other programming languages. And if you are using other programming languages as your base programming language, Python also has a good way of implementing itself with them. So this is why I would really love you to learn Python, because you can easily integrate it with several applications, and it really helps. All right, and it's also easy to write. These are other reasons, and moreover, it is a high programming language, meaning it's an interpreter. Okay, the other high programming languages like HTML and the others. So Python can be used to write good script and powerful script. Okay, so it's a high programming language. Now, it doesn't mean that high program. Now, someone said some other day that high programming languages are greater than low programming languages. No, that's not the concept of it. I feel someone else don't understand it. Now, high programming languages means simply that it is an interpreter. Okay, it's an interpreter, and low programming language means it's a compiler. Now, there's a whole lot of English up there where they tell you this is closer to human understanding, this closer to machine understanding. That's true, but I just want to say it in another realm. Okay, so interpreter means anytime something is being interpreted, meaning it has to be transferred to another form before it is taken to the main form. So you go to the court and the defendant doesn't understand a particular language, so it has to be interpreted to him. So Python is an interpreter, it's high level language, so they've made it in such a way that it's closer to like a form of human understanding. So you write it in how it is in this syntax, and it is transferred into the computer's language, then it is executed. Okay, but low programming languages like C and the others, they are just compilers. So an advantage of Python is it's easy to write because it's in your own language. Okay, it has basic syntaxes. And a disadvantage of low programming languages is difficult to write because you have to know how it relates to the computer in the hard way. Okay, but the disadvantage of Python is because it needs to be interpreted, it could be slow. But honestly, there are measures being put in place to work on the fastness, and there are several modules like PyPy, which is so fast. Okay, and the advantage of compilers or low programming languages is simply that they are so fast. Honestly, are so fast. So these are some of the things you just need to know basically about programming before you start. And moreover, these are some of the things you have to have installed if you want to start programming. So to those who are new in programming and wondering how do I start, my tutorials just jump started into using the print function. Okay, but those will basically give you an idea of the tools I would need in order to start programming. Now there are two things you need to understand in programming. One, the setup of the programming language, okay, which contains all the resources, all the libraries, all the syntaxes you need to use in order to develop the code, all the built-in functions. And two, you need an integrated development environment. So this is kind of the setup for the programming language. In every realm of programming, you need a setup itself to give you the resources, and two, you need an integrated development environment. IDE is simply the platform where you write your code. Okay, so the IDE has to be able to integrate with the Python software, so you can write your Python software within the IDE. So the IDE is the software where you write your platform, the platform where you write your code, and the programming software is the setup that gives you the resources so you'll be able to write your code. So now the programming software we are using is Python, and the IDE we're using is PyCharm. So there are several IDEs like Visual Studio, Bracket, Sublime Text. You can use all of them, but the Python remains the same. So different IDEs, you can work with different operating systems but the same programming language. Okay, so that's the basic thing for those who are new. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and watch all my videos if you've not watched them. It will give you a good start in Python, and ring that bell so you get all updates I release. And thank you for viewing. Have a blessed day.